Hello everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Nüvida Let's Talk. Today we have a powerful man, El Jefe, Mr. Jeff Espinoza.
Thank you guys. No, I'm very excited to be here. Honestly, I've seen a lot of the podcasts. You guys have come a long way and had a lot of conversations with a bunch of different entrepreneurs and just had a bunch of different topics as well. And no, I'm just excited to see where it goes. So thanks for having me.
Right. So yeah, guys, we're back, and also I just want to say we're still working on our mission to cross Canada. We did start in Ontario, and we're almost there. Not really, but you know, we got a couple weeks left. There's 6 more weeks to go. So we got to push hard. If you got steps or kilometers you're walking, donate it to Nüvida Instagram page and help us out.
Yeah, blessed. But yeah, let's
click in with Jeff.
Yeah.
So how do we know you? For like, nice sweater. Matches my hat.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's if anything, it's funny because the brand itself represents the idea of just trying to start something from nothing. You know what I mean? So it's very cool to be a part of just an attempt of anything. You know what I mean? Everything starts as an idea as first. Even the established companies that we see today, big names like Nike, Google, you name it, before they were just an idea, before they were brought into existence. So it's cool. Like I was saying, I went to a concert for the first time, like since the pandemic, like a couple weeks ago. And it was like the first time I was actually trying to shop for myself, like for a long time. And like, you know, I don't know if it's like being a dad or everything like that, but I feel like I lost my style. So I went to the mall and I was actually struggling to find something that I'm like, man, I don't even know how to shop for myself anymore. And then I ended up wanting to make a custom shirt, you know, because I just couldn't like vibe right with all the different brands that are existing there. So I'm like, you know what, like, let's just be creative with it, make something custom, nothing crazy, just something simple that's your own. And that's a lot of what you guys did with Capital City Crows.
I feel like that's the entrepreneur in you though, trying to, you know, because now you're talking about, I don't know if you want to talk about this now, but you're kind of talking about incorporating that with our 5 a.m. group, right? So
yeah, no, that's true. And honestly, you guys are more the entrepreneurial headspace. Because like, to be honest, I haven't been able to take a risk on that level. I've been working for a tech company for like the past 5 years. It will be 5 years fully this June. But you guys have taken the actual leap of faith to just full on start from scratch.
But wait. Before we jump to that, I want to talk about your leap of faith, because you took a huge leap of faith as well when the England.
Yeah, the UK.
True, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's honestly like I remember, like, this was a few years ago.
Yeah, almost.
I just remember hearing this story and the way you approach it as an entrepreneur, and like that's kind of like gave me motivation to kind of like you're doing it different. Like you mind explaining that?
Yeah, no problem.
On the line, right? You gotta you put yourself first, and then next step is like put yourself on the line, see what happens. That's kind of what you did, no?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of like identifying where you're at any point in time. Yeah. Like, so say for example, that whole UK venture that I did, that was almost how I ended up at this tech company, because it was, like I said, almost 5 years ago exactly. And I was working for TD. I was working at TD, and I was trying to make my way to move up the ladder there. And my main goal was actually to go into like Ameritrade or direct investing. Yeah. And because I graduated in finance, so I'm like, I want to use my degree to leverage where I'm working at right now. So TD really wasn't going my way. Like, I applied for Ameritrade direct investing. I didn't get the job. I was crushed. They gave me a different opportunity to leave phone channel, and I left to retail. And I became a financial advisor at one of the branches here in London. Yeah. And honestly, that was the point where I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. You know what I mean? And that's what led me to take that big leap of faith. So I transitioned to the retail space, and I just realized that it was just sales. And I graduated already. I had all this OSAP debt, and I was just so confused, you know what I mean? Because I just thought that, you know, studying finance and accounting and working at a bank before I graduated, like in my head, it was all supposed to sync. Yeah. And
the steps were perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I did everything right, and then the only thing that I was getting was just sales targets, and that was the only job that it was. I guess I was pretty naive on what I thought the banking industry was, and this is no knock on the banking industry as it is, because our society is built on what the
Without
banking
them,
has
you
been.
can't do anything, right?
But it was just identifying what I actually wanted, and it wasn't the same. So 5 months into that role, I'm like, you know what, man, I feel like I didn't even really need a degree to do what I'm doing right now. Like, why did I go to school? You know what I mean? What was the whole purpose? And those are the questions that I feel like everybody should ask themselves frequently. You know what I mean? Like, because the world we live in, nothing stays the same. Everything is changing. So I think we always got to like check if we're in line with what we're trying to do, right? So I, at that time, you know, this was before my daughter, this was before, you know, marriage as well. So this was young Jeff, and, you know, with not that much responsibilities that depended on me. So it was easy to dream. And that dreaming is what I lived for. Like every day, so I'd go in, I'd do my shift at TD. I know I wasn't fulfilled, but I'm very easily inspired. And this day and age, we have so much resources. If anything, we have information overload on our phones that there's so much to do. Like
they try to condense it too little where you're not really learning.
Yeah.
You're just hearing facts now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we have too much learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's literally like too much to do. But if you kind of like keep trying to figure out what inspires you as a person individually, and like what makes you click and what makes you tick. And there was this opportunity in the UK at the time, and I've never been to Europe, and I'm like, you know what, like, let's just take a stab at it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was a social media company, and you know, I was inspired by their content. They made a lot of like inspiring,
like what was their following
content
at the time? Like
very, very little, to be honest, because they were just starting up. They're a huge
I remember
company
hearing
too.
about them. Like before they even said, I remember like having them pop up on my feed.
How'd
so
you
like,
find out
they were semi like popular, like, you know, like
no, they were Social Chain. Social Chain is
that's the name, right?
That's the name of the company, and Stephen Bartlett is the CEO. And they just did really good quality content, you know what I mean? And I found them on Instagram, like I said, just like everybody else, just mindlessly scrolling through. And I found their content. I was just really taken by them. To me, like, their content was a lot different than what I've seen. So the curious mind that I had, I just researched them, and I went on LinkedIn. I see who worked there. I saw how that they were growing and stuff. And they had a YouTube channel, and they had a lot of people apply there. And I'm like, you know what, this would be like a fun work environment to work for.
And what did they do specifically?
Across the oceans in England.
They are located head office in Manchester, England, and they're a social media company that takes on like projects at a time, for example. So their clients are big brands. Okay. Big brands like Maybelline, like Nike, like they have some brands in the UK too, but their whole value is promotion. So brands, established brands, go to Social Chain to basically help promote to younger generations. Okay. You know what I mean? Because younger generations, again, we're a lot more sporadic in our attention span. So like it takes so like 3 seconds, 4 seconds to capture attention for younger generations. So like established brands were having that challenge. That's what Social Chain was trying to break, exactly. Or just be
trying to bridge the gap.
Trying to be the experts, exactly. Like let's be the middlemen to these big brands like Puma, etc., and find creative ways to promote their brands.
It kind of like what Gary Vee does, his company, Vayner Media. It's like they do the same thing for Pepsi.
Yeah, very similar. And Gary Vee and Stephen Bartlett like have met together. Like they've shared podcasts. So almost the exact same idea, exact same concept. So long story short, I just knew that, you know what, I wasn't happy with what TD was giving me, what my work environment was. I knew I was unfulfilled, and I'm just like, why continue down this road? And I did the job application. Like I created an Instagram account.
Sick, well, what made you like? First of all, explain it, and then second of all, like, what made you do such a unique thing?
Well, it was the research that I did on the company. So I saw that how Social Chain was being extremely creative on how they were branding for their clients, like these big brands, and they would do like Facebook Lives or IG Lives and do like a contest, so many likes will dunk this person in. You know what I mean? They just did very creative, out of the box ways to promote brands. So I'm like, okay, if they're creative out of the box, I'm gonna use that same kind of approach. Like almost the way that they did their marketing is what inspired me how to do my job application.
So match that energy almost.
Yeah,
right?
almost just being like, you know what, I'll get their attention if I'm doing something the way their style, the way they're doing it. So I created an Instagram account, another Instagram account, but dedicated to be a resume. And it, literally the name of the Instagram account was Jeff Espinoza Resume or something like that.
Yeah.
Jeff Resume. And then like I did little short clips, and I did it like as the structure of a resume. Like, and the first clip was intro, like who objective, like who am I and stuff like that. So I basically made
digital resume.
A digital resume, exactly, using Instagram, and it worked. It got their attention because like I created the account, and then I had a group of my friends, and like shout out to them, because to be honest, I've had a huge support circle since day one. But I remember I gathered them at my house, and I'm like, listen guys, I'm trying to apply for this job in the UK, and I could really use your guys' help. I've created this Instagram account that's going to be my resume, but I need to get their attention. So if you guys can, you know, send an email to like, and I literally creeped, I went on LinkedIn and I creeped all of their email addresses, and I pulled all the information I could from the internet, and I gave it to my friends. And I'm like, if you can just a quick paragraph just to say like why I would be a good person to work with, or you know, and it wasn't even forced, it was completely genuine. It's like, you know, this is what I'm trying to do, and if you guys, you know, want to help me, support me. And the outcome blew me away. Like all of them sent them emails, and I asked them if they could send it all on the same day. And it swarmed, and it so literally their whole head office received these emails on the same day with the link to the Instagram account, watched the videos, and they shouted me out on their YouTube channel.
I want to ask, do you think the digital resume is going to be a future, do you think? Like, because like, I don't know, as we move into like this digital world and also a lot of technology, right? Paper is slowly coming, like it's no longer like as needed or something like that. Do you think a digital resume might be the new thing at some point? Or do you think people are still going to want to go through papers, or at least like a document, because you can just go through it a lot faster, right?
I think it's a way to differentiate yourself. I don't think it's the only way. And I think the key is you want to just stand out differently. So with the digital resume, it was just tailored to that opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you gotta do the research on what you're trying to achieve, because that digital resume won't work for another, you know what I mean?
But it was also like layered with the emails, with the people at the same time, strategically. Like it was just a genius idea in all.
Honestly,
it was a package for them, right? It wasn't just a resume.
The effort was kind of crazy.
Correct, and I think that's what they recognized. And like, I think, you know, for everything that it was, I didn't get the job. Like I went there, I got to their head office, I met the CEO, shook his hand, they interviewed me, they showed me the space. And that alone was a win for me, you know what I mean? And like, and the story is still on YouTube to this day, you know what I mean? So like, even me in the Manchester office is still there. And like, you know, that's literally, to me, I shot my shot, you know what I mean? And there's no shame in that. And to answer your question, I probably wouldn't do the digital resume the same way as I did then. Because like I said, I think it's really important to identify each opportunity individually, you know what I mean? So at that time, that was the steps, or that's what I thought was the best way to apply for that opportunity. If it's me today and I was trying to do something similar,
or the job you're at now,
with the job, well, I would do my research like as it is now, and nothing's ever going to be the same. So I think everybody just has to try to push those creative limits, you know what I mean? You know, just even if it's a paper resume, there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe you can, you know, hand deliver it or something like that, or figure out, like, if you know the company that you're trying to work for, figure out what they value, and figure out what's important to them, and then maybe even like, you know, little things, little details go a long way. Putting something in like a nice envelope with something, hand deliver it, even if like, you know, if you want to...
But that's facts though, like you have to make yourself stick out. Like for example, like Claudia and I, like for example, if we were doing offers on houses, like I'm thinking of like writing like a tailored note to be like, hey, this is me and her kind of explaining who we are,
Yep.
and why we would love the house, and like have that slipped in with the offer. Like we're thinking of doing that, but like you said, it's like maybe actually shout out to Havo. He told me he's the one kind of like mentioned that idea to me. Havo Yusuf, my boy. And then I was like, man, that's a great idea, because then like they could be looking at an offer and they're all of a sudden like, whoa, like this one's more personal. Like, and a home is hard to sell because like that's like your home,
of course,
right? So it's like you kind of want to pass it off to like I don't know, some people do, right? So like you said, it's about sticking out, and it's about make sure you stick out like a sore thumb.
And I think that's the big thing where like coming back to I guess how you even did that resume. It's the idea is like you know when, especially because you've interviewed people, you've kind of gone through that process. You're just trying to go through the paperwork. You're just trying to do it right. So when you have something that makes you stick out, either like a qualification, past work experience, or even just the resume looks a lot better than the other ones, you're very quick to identify that and be like, okay, well, I'm going to spend a little more time on that. So like I feel like the way you approach it was like, okay, all these resumes are going to come in, but once I put my resume, they're going to have to dedicate time because it's a video. You have to watch the video to understand who this person is, and at the same time, you kind of fall in love with the person in a way because they put that effort, right?
Yeah, like as an employer, like you have so much like resumes that like you can't physically read all 50. Like you said, it's about those like 20 that stuck out, and then you condense it smaller and smaller. But like in his case, it's like you had no other option but to click the link. Yeah,
and you have to watch it. So you're like, oh, who is this guy, right? And then it's like, as I said, like that's why like the whole podcast industry, or even just talking, is people slowly get a connection with the people versus like just the show itself.
I have another question. This is kind of swinging it 360, but I want to relate it in a way. So like, I know you've been boxing for a long time. And I know that's been it's been a part of you forever. Do you think that's kind of like what contributes to your drive and your fight to like getting what you want, or like?
No doubt. Honestly, like that is probably the foundation to everything. Like, when I was like growing up, I was always trying to keep up with my cousins. You know, very very athletic,
big lads.
You know, they did soccer. They were amazing at soccer. I tried to keep up. I was never good at soccer. They excelled in basketball. I tried to follow that wave. I was never good at sports. You know, high school came around, grade 9. I tried out for the football team. I was way too light. You know what I mean? Just that didn't work out. And honestly, like I found boxing for the wrong reason. At first, when I was in high school, it was like grade 10.
What was that reason?
Grade 10, just because I'm like, you know.
You want to kick ass, didn't you?
Almost as an ability to just like look attractive, you know what I mean? To you know, to the
like,
ladies,
he
you know what I mean? Exactly. You know, if I'm a boxer type, you know, that's kind of unique. Not everybody does it.
Coming back to
exactly, trying to stand out and you know, just trying to attract the ladies, if anything.
It has that like tough grit kind of.
Yeah, it's like if I'm getting it's like you want that boyfriend who will kick your.
You know what I mean? And I think it's easy because like the way that sport is promoted too, that's easy to kind of want to like fight for that reason is just to be like, okay, all right, just
that ego kind of thing, right?
Almost like the ego thing. But you know, the beautiful part about that sport is that, you know, I was in grade 10 at the time, and I'm like, okay, I googled boxing gyms in London, and then I found one. I showed up, did the beginner class for like a week, and then I saw that they were doing sparring, and then I'm like, okay, like let me try it out. And I literally got my ass handed to me. Like I like
punched in the face, like bad.
It was kickboxing.
Okay.
Kickboxing gym, so it was punches and kicks, and they knew I was a beginner, but like honestly, I don't regret any of it because
you just said put me in there.
It was the most important lesson that I ever could ever learn, because at that time I was so cocky, you know what I mean? Like, and I was in there for the wrong reasons. Like I said, I just wanted to be there to like, you know, look impressive for the ladies. I just want to look hard at parties, you know what I mean? I just want to, you know, the glory. I just wanted the glory. But that sport proves time and time again that there's always someone better than you out there. You know what I mean? There's always someone working harder. There's always someone, you know, more dedicated, that are doing it for the right reasons. So anybody with an ego and with ill intention that goes into that sport just literally gets handed to them no matter what.
Broken down like that, but like
so
it's facts.
First sparring session, I got in there and I held my own. I was trying to hold my own, and like I lasted the whole sparring session, but I don't even think I landed a punch. I think I literally just curled up the whole time, just trying to go around. Body shot, leg kick, head kick, like just. And after that, I just went to the locker room, and I was like almost in tears, man. Honestly, I was basically in tears, and I remember the guy and Jesse Ronson was actually the first guy. He has shout out him. He has a fight in the UFC actually this year.
Jeez,
2 months right now.
Yeah.
He's training out of adrenaline right now. But he was the one that took it. Like, he's just like, you know what? This guy needs to learn.
Yeah.
So I was in the locker room, literally in tears, about to leave, go home, and he's like, if you show up again, like if you show up tomorrow, then I know you want this for real. Kind of deal. Then I know you want to be a fighter.
Man, that would,
and I literally went home. I iced my bruises, licked my wounds, and I'm like, you know what? Do I really want this? Do I really want to do the sport for that? And then I showed up the next day, and the rest is history. And that's when I humbled myself for like forever.
So like it's like the high school cockiness.
And then that's where I learned my lesson, and that's where I'm like, you know what? It's not about trying to be the hardest at a party or trying to, you know, be the most attractive to the ladies and stuff like that. It literally became to you yourself. Are you trying to improve, self-develop? Like, are you just trying to be the best version of yourself? Yeah. Because that was the only sport that I ever tried that it wasn't a team activity. It wasn't like soccer or basketball or volleyball where you rely on your team. Like with kickboxing and boxing or any martial art, actually, it literally is you yourself
versus yourself,
and you show your results. Yeah. And when you're in that ring, you got no one else to blame but yourself. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Are you content with that? So it's a very addictive discipline. Yeah. That literally makes you accountable for nothing but your own actions. And it's been the most powerful thing. I carried that mindset through school. That's what literally, that same training. So because if you have a fight coming up, so I did like 9 amateur fights after I started training with them. And every time I had a date, it's like 3 months, 4 months from now. Okay, you literally have to put yourself in that position. So how are you gonna be? Are you gonna slack? Are you gonna drink on the weekends? Are you gonna party? Okay. Are you gonna eat cheeseburgers and do this? Like, because if you do, you're literally gonna get your ass kicked. You know what I mean? So like, do you want that? If you decide to commit yourself to something, if you say you're gonna do something and put a deadline to it, how are you gonna prepare for it? And that's where it all started, man. And that literally is the secret sauce to anything you achieve in life. Like I personally believe that life itself is a fight, you know, in anybody's situation, even people that aren't even athletes. Like sometimes it's a fight to get out of bed in the morning. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a fight to fucking go to the job that you don't want to go to for the rest of your day. Like everybody's trying to, you know, and to use the word fight, I don't want to use that in an aggressive way because it's more just like challenges.
Yeah, it's like, always you versus you.
Exactly.
Like, at the end of the day, and like that's the thing I think I learned because like I started Coca and I've been started training with you and Luis, which we're super grateful for.
Killing it,
crazy.
Hey, yo, you guys
but like we're grateful because in the sense of like you think you putting on the gloves like you're gonna fight someone else, but then you realize for those 3 weeks, like you said, you're fighting yourself. Yeah. You're like, am I gonna wake up at 5 a.m.? I'm gonna wake up 5 a.m. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna wake up 5 a.m.
It's the one thing me and him are talking about, right? Because like. Honestly, I still haven't figured out the sleeping pattern, and I say that because like I want to get 8 hours of sleep. There's no chance I'm getting 8 hours of sleep before that 5 a.m. right? But like it's the mental warfare. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna be there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you could skip it. I could lay in bed, especially when I open up those group texts and you see like I'm up. You could literally just lay in bed and not go, right? Yeah. But it's like when you see everyone else is up, everyone's making the effort, the time. You really don't have a choice at that point, or you do. But it's like the strong ones are the ones who want it more, right?
And like you said about the team sports stuff, it's like I've only played team sports as well. You know what I mean? So like if you slack one day, like you can still win the game. You're relying on the other members, right? But like in this one, it's like gloves up. You're like, okay, damn. Yeah. Like no one else is putting their gloves up but me. Yeah. Like I'm the only one to have to. So like you're tired as hell. But I feel like you said, it's just fighting yourself, making sure you get there and you get it done.
Exactly.
And, like, it's only been 3 weeks in, so like we're not nowhere near the level of your mentality and Luis's, but like it's like damn, it's like I can see the benefits of it.
I like the mental warfare of it though, right? Especially like for example when we do abs together, it's like you could like kind of slack off, but then you look around, all of us are crushing abs, and it's like you just don't want to slack. I don't know, and like I think that's what my favorite part about like this group that we started, like or whatever, the training in the morning, is the fact that we all hold each other accountable in a way. But it's not like, as you said, you're still battling yourself because you don't have to show up. Yeah. But then we're gonna kind of hound on you, right? Yeah. Like, Zach, remember Friday, bud?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly it. And I'm grateful for the group itself because it's come so organically, and it's when you have a group of guys that aren't trying to compete against each other, that's what makes the difference. You know what I mean? Because like, it doesn't matter if, you know, one day you do plank for 3 minutes straight, and then, you know, we're only able to do a minute and a half and we drop beforehand. The whole goal is self-improvement, period. You know what I mean? Like, and we all have different goals in lives as well. Like, you know, we have one member, he does a construction job he goes after. I go to an office job. You guys do have your own things. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own individual path, but like, we all are in sync with self-improvement. We're just trying to better ourselves. You know what I mean? And as you guys have known, like, starting your morning
is everything.
Starting your morning is everything. The second you set the tone and you start at that high level, that high energy output, you're on a high note for the rest of the day. And you carry it over to every interaction you have in the rest of your day. You go to work and you feel good because, you know, you did your workout in the morning, you ate your breakfast, you're feeling energized. And it takes a long time to build that discipline, but it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. And that's not to say that everybody has to do it at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? Everybody's different. You know.
And this is the thing too. It's like I have some people ask me like, oh, how are you doing at 5 a.m. And there's always two different types of answers. There's one type of answer that's like, oh, like cool. I'll get my workout in another time. You know, respectable. No one has to do it at 5 a.m. But then there's one type of answer that's like, I'll never be able to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm not. Oh my goodness, how do you do this? I never. But like, and you see the different mindset. Like you said, it doesn't have to be 5 a.m. You know, you get your workout in. But like to say you could never do that, it's like, yo, you'll be surprised of what humans are capable of doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's what I mean about like self-improvement. You know what I mean? When you literally put yourself in a point where you're like, you know what, I just want to see what I can do. You know what I mean? And it's hard to do that now more than ever, I believe, because there's so much noise every single day. You know what I mean? Our phones are the biggest trap. You know, social media is the biggest trap. There's so much noise. There's so much things that can capture your attention. So how much time does everybody really put to learning who the fuck they are? You know what I mean? And that's what's difficult. But like, that's what's been a byproduct of this type of training. This 5 a.m. training for me was more like, okay, let me just not listen to what everyone else is doing. Let me not pick up my phone and scroll on social media. Let me just literally just sit with myself and try to do this for myself. And then you realize that you can push your own boundaries. You know what I mean? That like, the second you start looking at someone else do something, you're comparing yourself.
Yeah.
You already lost at that point because you're seeing someone else already do something, but you're not even giving yourself a chance. Like, you can literally wake up and in your bed in the first 30 minutes, scroll through your phone, and in that 30 minutes, you've already lost the day. You're already defeated. Yeah. Why? Because you just compared yourself to however many different opportunities or activities other people are doing. That's not going to make you feel good about yourself. Like, why start your day looking at what other people are doing? To me, that makes no sense, because it's like, it's your day. You know what I mean?
And we're giving it to
those people aren't going to do anything for you.
It's crazy how like it's like you have to even like say that. Like people like can't put like, well, it's hard to put enough care into yourself to remove that sort of distraction.
That's the toughest thing to do. You know what I mean? That's even tougher than waking up at 5 a.m. to train, because this is something that we've grown up with for years. You know, our generations, you know, millennials specifically, growing up with like Messenger at first, and then Facebook, BBM, you know what I mean, MSN. And starting with MSN, everything's been so social through every stage of our lives. So that's almost like, it's almost like a habit for us. It's almost like a reflex.
Yeah, for us to remove ourselves from it is a lot harder, because we're so exposed to it, and it's been so much of our lives.
Exactly.
That's a different part of our lives.
Yeah.
Like our parents, for example, like they just read or they'll do whatever, and like the internet's crazy to them.
Our grandparents were crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right? Like whenever you're on the phone, they're like, what's going on? But like,
yeah. And that's where the power lies. The power lies in starting to understand those habits of being like, you know what? Who am I individually? And that, beyond social media, now spills over to your social circle. How many, you know, who's in your circle? Like, who influences you? Do they influence you in the motives that you want them to. And this all comes down to self-awareness. And I think that's an exercise that everybody has to prioritize, because even, you know what I mean, right now, I can't say that I've identified myself fully. And I don't think I ever will, to be honest, because life is ever changing. Situations are ever changing. So like, identifying who we are is an ongoing process that will never end. I personally believe so.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. So it's just a matter of like, always spending time, like almost daily. Like, here's what meditation has been huge for me. And like, since the pandemic started, since 2020, that was something I started doing, I think like 3 months into the pandemic. And it was literally just a matter of setting a timer for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Do you actually do a full 20 minutes of just like
silence completely? And like, you know, just set a timer for 20 minutes on your phone and find a quiet room or a quiet space, or even outside on your porch or something, and literally just sit with yourself. Nothing.
Do you talk to yourself a lot? Like, I don't know. I find I do a lot.
Everybody's different, you know what I mean? And that's fair game too. A lot of it is I just kind of like just try to close my eyes and just get in tune with my senses. And like, I breathe, like I literally just focus on my breath. What do I hear? Do I hear cars in the background? Do I hear whatever? And that is the most powerful thing to do, because your thoughts, what your brain does in those 20 minutes is self-awareness. You're becoming self-aware, and you're like, and that's where you answer those questions. That's where you find the questions of like, okay, what do I want to do? Like, like, who am I for real? Like, what is my goal? You make that a habit every day of just, even 10 minutes goes a very long way.
I'm gonna try it, I think.
You know what I mean?
I can relate to that. Like, I think it's the same thing. Like, I pray, which is like a form of meditation
for sure.
So it's like at least like putting time aside for like yourself and figuring yourself out. And like, I usually pray every day when I walk with my dog, and like that walking and like that meditation, like just like the like zoning out of everything and just like getting into that, like you said, it's just game changing. Because then like you come back from like that walk or that meditation session, and you kind of just like, my day's now clear. Like, you know, or if you do it in the afternoon, where you kind of just like relax, like your senses are like, we're the most complicated, I don't want to say the most complicated because I don't know, but we're one of the most complicated things on this earth in regards to how we operate, like consciousness, dreams, like a physiological, our muscle, community, how we integrate with one another. The fact that like some countries are in war right now, like we're so complicated.
No, we are, you know, and you're not wrong in saying
and we're
that.
not even like figuring ourselves out, like, and we have to deeply.
The crazy part is there's so many of us, right? And so like, if we're so complicated, how do we like align everybody to kind of be the same when it's kind of impossible in a way, right?
Yeah. No, I like how it came to this point, because what you said, Rico, is absolutely correct. Like, we are the most complex beings and complex species that walk this earth, you know what I mean? So with that being said, it ties all of those three avenues to the fact that every day we wake up, it's a balancing act. We're on a tightrope, and it all comes down to mind, body, spirit. And I truly believe that those, you know what I mean? Even if you don't think of those topics individually, everything we do is physical, right? Like, if we wake up, we get out of bed, we put on our shoes, we put on our clothes. Those are mechanics, you know what I mean? That's straight physical. That's your physical body. Your mood every day. That's gonna happen no matter what. You wake up, you're gonna have a mood, no matter what it is. That's more like on the spiritual level kind of deal. So like, once you get to a point where you identify, okay, where am I at with each of those? You know, like body, mind, spirit, and taking the time to kind of like align those is a balancing act, and it's so exhausting. You know what I mean? And you can't make it something that like you beat yourself up over. It's just trying to become aware of where you're at with all of those.
And it's so crazy you say this, bro, because like I read a lot of Dr. Jordan Peterson, he's a psychologist, and on top of exactly what you're saying, so you're balancing all that, walking a tightrope, you must add responsibility onto all that. Of
course.
So it's like walking with a brick. Yeah. Because the responsibility is what gives you purpose. So with everything you just said, and you add responsibility, you're like a machine of just like pure, like, you know, let's go get it. Yeah. So that's, it's sick, man.
It is, man. Tough. So it's a matter of identifying it first. Once you identify it, don't stress it. That's the easiest thing that people do. Everything in our generation is fucking notorious for it. Is we measure fucking everything. Our calories burned, our steps taken. You know this. You know what I mean? And that's progress. That's efficiency. That's good. Those are good habits to have because we like to be able, you can't improve what you can't measure.
Yeah.
So it's important to measure how many steps we take, how many calories we burn. But the double-edged sword on that is that we almost become too obsessed on the numbers.
Yeah.
And not the
You know what I mean?
progress
And
itself.
then if there's a number not there, or if we don't track something, it's almost like we're off. We're like, oh no, that's not good. There's power in literally just doing something just to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Little wins, right?
Without tracking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like we're all about progress. We're all about like how many work hours did I put in today? How many hours of exercise did I do today? How many calories am I eating? You know what I mean? So we have the ability to track everything, which is phenomenal, but there's a very fine line where you don't want to fall into the trap of...
Then it just becomes metrics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just becomes like things you have to beat. And it's just
Or
like
you beat yourself up sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
If a day happens, if a day passes by and you like your number isn't what the number that you're supposed to be, or like sometimes it's like, man, you don't have to track anything. You know what I mean? Having, and that's what it comes down to, balance as being the whole theme of this conversation.
Yeah.
As to like, you know what? I'm overstressing myself because I'm trying to hit a number. I'm trying to hit a target. But the only stress is you. You're the only person putting yourself under that stress. Stress is good and healthy to achieve goals and accomplish big things, but you got to also understand when
it's hurting you,
or like when you're overdoing it. You know what I mean? And when you are overdoing it, the best way to actually like counteract it is to do the same activity, but not for the numbers.
Yeah. Well,
Just,
honestly, that's why I kind of love,
just to kind of do it.
Like
you know
what you're
I mean?
saying is facts, and like that's why I kind of think like where we add a kind of a unique aspect. You know what I mean? Like for example, with Nüvida, it's like we have a different array of numbers. You know what I mean? Some people are putting X kilometers. Some people are only like donating 1 kilometer. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like so. It's like as a community, we're not trying to meet a metric.
Yeah.
But like we're just trying to promote it. But I get what you're saying. It becomes an obsession. Then that's not good. Like for example, like me, like this challenge I threw myself in for 365. Like I don't necessarily aim to close my ring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna do a 45-minute workout outside, you know what? Some of that 45 minutes just walking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, you can't push yourself.
Well,
and I just do it like the posting like I hope it doesn't come off as in in your face thing. Yeah. I'm just doing it more for like I guess I love the messages that people send me, bro, that are like, I worked out today. Mm-hmm. I did this. You'd be surprised, bro. I've received well over 20 more DMs of just like, I'm doing this now. You've inspired me. Come work out with me.
Personally,
and you know
I love seeing it because that's a goal that you set for no one else but yourself. Mm-hmm. And you're achieving it for no one else but yourself. And that's what the beauty of that activity is. I think what I'm trying to say is more that people got to identify when they're stressed and what's causing their stress. And it all comes down to that more self-awareness, right? Because a lot of the times what stresses people out is something that they're putting on themselves. And so like that is you achieving a goal, and that's in line with your goal and your vision, and it's inspiring. And that's why I love how you kind of set that bar, and you're showing that it's possible. You're pushing those limits, and that's phenomenal. And I'm just thinking for like everybody else in their day-to-day lives that are just, find themselves stressed.
When you say it's the most important, it's like when you should like notice like I am stressed. That's what you're saying. It's like you don't want to hit that alert system. And when you do hit that alert system, identify it and do something about it. Like stop recording the calories if that's happening.
Well,
exactly.
The biggest thing is like you said, like we put metrics on everything. It's like it's not the fact that you didn't lose a pound that day. It's the fact that you actually still went out and walked. It's the fact that you actually did the effort, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too. We always say it's consistency, right? Like our consistency, like me and him, we're accountable. We got to get there in the morning. We got to post this podcast every 2 weeks. It's like I'm more happy that even if the views aren't big, I'm just happy the video got out because with that effort and that work, like maybe the views aren't gonna be there, but the fact that we did it, it's just gonna compound. And that's the win. That's the real win, right? Because like once you get to this point where you're like, not everything before didn't matter. It's the fact that I just stayed accountable to myself and the goals will come slowly, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say low key, like shout out to my mom. She's never gonna hear this because she's not like a YouTuber.
Fair enough.
But she's been going to the gym like for a week straight, and like she used to always weigh herself after the gym. Like, mom, like you weren't even going for a week or two, mama. Like like relax, like like not gonna see big numbers. But she was stressing herself recording. So it's exactly aligned with what Jeff is saying. It's like so I told her, just don't even hop on the weight thing. Now she's not hopping on it. She's doing exercise. She's not even worried about it. She's having more fun with the exercise.
That's actually a perfect example.
Exactly
that's a perfect example there, and I think to circle everything off basically and to bring everything to one conclusion, it would be that it starts with self-awareness.
Yeah.
In a world and in a daily life where we just get bombarded from the second we open our eyes to the second we go to sleep with just news, phone, social media, work, everything. Carve out time to just be in your own skin. So that 10 minutes of silence is my recommendation, honestly, because that's what started me.
Yeah.
And that's actually what led me to the 5 a.m. trainings, to be honest, because I started doing that before I even started like working out at 5 a.m. because I was doing very unhealthy habits when the pandemic started. And I was, I was drinking, I was smoking, I was like eating bad, you know what I mean? Just like not feeling good about myself. And because it was easy to, everybody was supposed to stay inside and stuff. So it wasn't a good spot, but like, it wasn't until I actually started of doing, okay, let's just start with meditation. Yeah. And meditation, not doing like a guided meditation, is to literally set a timer and you're alone in your own skin. And you'll find that in the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you're like, holy fuck, this is the longest 10 minutes. I've ever, like, you feel like antsy, you know what I mean? You're like, man, I need to check my phone. But like, breathe in. You actually don't have to do anything. And that's how you know that you need it. You know what I mean? If you set that timer to just be in your own thoughts with no other influence, that is the game changer right there. And that will lead you to identify what you truly want, what your goals are, and once you get the answers from those sessions, you know how to spend the hours in your day. Because at the end of the day, everybody shares the same 24 hours, whether you're already a successful CEO or you're a student or a co-op student trying to figure it out, or even if you're just an average Joe, like, that is just trying to take things day by day. That time to yourself is the changer, is the catalyst for your future, for the future that you want to achieve. And then the second part to that whole equation is you got to put the time, energy, and effort to attack it with everything you have. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, it's two extremes. It's like the calm, sit in your own skin, be as calm, relaxed as possible with no influence, just silence. And then once you get the answers from there,
come out swinging. You
literally put your heart and soul into it, and that's the only way you're going to be able to manifest your dreams.
Yeah. It's like chaos in order. And like to conclude too, it's like basically like just like the fact that like again, Dr. Peterson says like you want to be a monster in the sense of like not being scared like when push comes to shove.
Yeah.
But you wanna have that under the most control.
Yeah.
Where you're like a very humble person. That, because at the end of the day, like it's just that balance, and like
exactly.
I guess we could conclude with that.
No,
and like, bro, honestly, thank you for
been an amazing conversation.
Thank you for being honest. And I just want to say, like straight up, like bro, like I know, like you're a little bit older than me, but you've always actually inspired me doing crazy shit, like running marathons, doing this, going to England, like all this shit. And I always see that, and like I appreciate you, bro.
No, I appreciate you.
Honestly,
likewise. You know what's funny is that this is still so early in all of our lives, so it's just exciting that we're doing these kind of things now. It makes me very excited for the future to come because we have so many years ahead of us. So if we just look at the past 2-3 years, look at what we've accomplished, what's going to happen in the next 2?
It's scary.
What's going to happen in the next 3? What's going to happen in the next 10? You know what I mean? So
I think it's crazy just to think like, man, we're working at TD together. Now we're doing things. We're pushing this brand heavy. Like, I don't know. Soon enough, come back again. We'll do it again. Yeah. Update everyone.
Yeah, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you think someone in your network would appreciate this, send it to them.
There you go.
Also, too, if you want to jump on, let us know. We need
and donate your steps or kilometers, whatever you can donate.
I'll see you guys at 5 a.m. tomorrow.
5 a.m.
5 a.m. we get back to it.
Yeah,
it's almost bedtime, actually. So let's cut the pod down.